This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3. Lovely.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Maastricht edition live on Facebook. Tonight, we are joined by the one and only Tracey Smith to celebrate the 4th of July on Sunday, and we'll have our usual segments of This Day in History, Matt Goes Dutch, and Tracey's Tidbits. So stay tuned.
Yay! Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Maastricht edition. Here we are again, and it's the Fantastic Three because Matt's back with us.
Oh,
Hooray.
We missed you last week, Matt.
oh, I hear it didn't go so well last week.
Oh, thanks for that.
we're
Not like the
speaking
content.
about it. Oh, well, that too, possibly.
We did have a few Facebook gremlins last week, but we got there in the end. But it had to be that they weren't happy that you were missing. I'm sure that's what it was.
Only explanation for it.
But you did have a very good reason for not being here, didn't you?
I did. I was getting pricked by a very grumpy old man.
Oh, okay. But
I just sat down, he was like, here's your sheet, and then stuck it straight in me.
Oh, my God.
No messing.
No messing. Straight in
Okay.
me.
There you go.
But it was very quick and nowhere near as painful as I was expecting. And on the drive there, I was like, oh, it's going to be horrible. It's going to really hurt. And I hardly felt it in the end, so it's fine.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, yeah, that's you done for your first jab then. And when do you get your second one?
The end of next month.
End of next month.
So then I'll be fully covered.
Yes, absolutely. And I am now fully covered. I had my second jab last Friday, so I'm good to go. And I've also downloaded the COVID checker jab app thing for making sure. Yeah, it's this
passport.
the QR code jabby app that you know what I mean.
The app. I have it in the news.
Oh, there you go.
I learned about it then.
Okay, well, Tracey's going to do a much better version of explaining what it is. I've got it, and I've downloaded it, and I'm all QR coded up, so wherever I go, I can show off that I've got my two jabs. And Tracey, you've got your second one coming up soon as well, I believe.
Another 3 weeks to go,
Yep.
so then I'll have the second one. So yes, so it also went all right. I'm not a huge fan of needles, which is quite a strange thing to say because I go for acupuncture quite regularly. Yeah, but just like and it wasn't a grumpy old man, but quite a feisty young lady who gave me my jab. I was kind of trying to bond with her. There was none of that. No, straight in there. But yeah, it was all right. So it was kind of like I kind of eked a bit. It was like. And then I moved on. Excellent. I was a trooper.
Well done.
So
good for you.
It was all right.
Good for you. Well, somebody else is a trooper. Is our former Foxy colleague Jason Smith, who's also going to be joining us later because we are going to be talking about the celebrations of the 4th of July that are coming up in a few days' time, and actually what it's like to be an American moving to Europe and then moving back to the US, because obviously a lot of our listeners out there are from the US as well, and maybe if you are actually planning on moving to Europe, you might want to get an idea about, culturally how things are different. And other American listeners of ours that are going to be moving back to the US at some point, maybe the member of their family is part of the military that are based here. You're going to have to move back at some point possibly. And again, there's going to be quite often another culture shock going on there if you've been away.
Yeah. Absolutely, because you can be in a place for a couple of years or even less, and without realizing, you can almost outgrow the land you came from.
It's possible. Yeah. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. You would have a culture shock moving back to your home country, but yeah, it does happen. So he's going to be here talking to us about that. It's also Canada Day today, so we'd like to say hello to all our Canadian viewers and listeners out there who are celebrating Canada Day, and we also want to say send our thoughts over to Canada at the moment because they're really struggling over there in this ridiculous heat that they've got. I mean, My goodness, 49.5 degrees.
Yeah, that's quite something.
I've never been in any kind of heat like that. What about you, Matt?
I think the hottest I've been was, I think it was 110 Fahrenheit, which is like high 30s.
That's about the same for me as well.
Phoenix, Arizona, in the desert.
Oh yeah, that'd be hot.
But that was
there.
okay actually, because it's really dry. So
yeah.
it's not as bad. But in Canada, it's really humid heat, so that makes it really horrible.
Yeah.
Depends. So many different types of heat. I think the warmest I ever had was in Cairns in Australia. That was also very rather warm, shall we say. And like at 9 o'clock in the morning, it was already like 30 degrees. Like, so yeah, that was probably the warmest for me. But I know many people have been, for example, out to the Middle East and stuff. And I think it's pretty hot out there in Bahrain or somewhere like that. So that's going to be quite toasty.
You mentioning Australia, of course, it's winter there at the moment in Australia, and there was a couple of days ago I noticed there's certain areas in Australia, even though it's winter, it's 31 degrees.
I know.
That's, you can't get your
chilly
head around
that
it.
is.
My goodness.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's crazy. So so our thoughts with the people of Canada today, but for those of you that are celebrating Canada Day, congratulations. Hope you're having a lovely day. And as we said, we've got Jason here from the good old US of A, who is going to be joining us later to talk about all things cultural between the US and Europe. So how's your week been anyway? How have you been finding? Because the weather here has been everything.
Oh no! I was almost tempted to put the heating on today. I'm back into my winter woolies. It's been really nippy, I must admit. Because we've gone from a couple of weeks ago we were complaining about how warm it was and it was really sticky weather, and now it's just a bit fresh, shall we say?
Yes, it's very very changeable, and of course one thing that also has changed is since last Saturday we don't actually have to wear masks anymore.
That's right.
Everywhere that we go, it's your
weird.
choice.
It's so
it's
weird.
crazy. I'm still wearing mine. I'm not going with it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. I was in town today very, very quickly because I really don't like going out of the house anymore. I don't like going into the city centre, and it was chock-a-block in Maastricht. Really, it was like it's the end of the world. Everyone and his mother was there.
Yeah.
But in the shops, no one is wearing the mask. I think everyone's thinking,
we were the
party.
only ones.
And even shops, but even in the stores where you're up quite close together, and that 1.5 meter rule, I mean, it's out the window. I honestly found it a bit weird not to put one on when I was going indoors, because you've been so conditioned to it now. Best part of a year and a half, and it's almost like, I forgot my handbag, I forgot my mask. It felt like I was breaking the law almost. But
personally, I find it quite irresponsible if you've not had 2 jabs to then walk around without a mask. Like, nothing's changed since last week, so why can't? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
But
well, I did. My hubby and I did actually venture to IKEA this afternoon. It got to the stage where if we added any more pillows to our bed, then we probably would have easily covered maybe about 10 pillows each. Our pillows were getting thinner and thinner and thinner over the years, and instead of buying new pillows, we just kept adding to them. And I said, no, this is going to stop. We need to get some new, fresh pillows. So we went off to IKEA with our masks in hand, and actually it was so quiet there. I have never been to IKEA when it's been that quiet. It was very, very spacious. There was hardly anybody there. The ones that were there, I would say probably 10 to 15% of people were wearing masks, but generally, no, of course, they weren't. But you didn't feel threatened there at all because there was lots and lots of space. Now, it was a Thursday, so obviously at the weekend, it's probably going to be a lot busier. And you still do have somebody on the door there directing you, and there's actually a sign telling you how many people are in the store at any one time. We felt very safe there actually, so that's good, and we got our pillows. So if nothing exciting happens over the next week, I will give you a review of the pillows next week, possibly on the show.
Tune in for that. Yes.
Belgium for the first time in months.
Did you?
Left the country.
Wow.
Because there's
what was that like?
It was good. It was lovely weather. Went on Saturday. It was nice and sunny.
Nice.
Cycled to a place called Aachen, which is near Eindhoven on the border. About an hour's cycle. And had a few beers and then wobbled back on the bike.
Lovely.
Fun.
Lovely.
They're a bit stricter in Belgium. Well, they were last weekend anyway compared to here. Yeah, it was fun.
Indeed, you
So
still
somewhere
pay
different.
attention. Yeah, to try something else. And it just feels so exotic now if you're just crossing the border on your bike
Yeah.
even, you know.
Yeah.
Who needs an airplane? Well, I'm tempted, as you guys know, Dave and I used to go a lot to Aachen, which is just about half an hour away. I really like the old town of Aachen. And now that our little COVID passport thing is, up and running as of today, I guess it's possible to do that. So who knows, maybe this Saturday we might take a trip across the border ourselves. Oh my God. I have to see if I still have a passport. I don't know where it is. I haven't used it for a year and a half.
Well, this is just too much excitement, honestly. I mean, this past week, all of a sudden, we're doing things, we're venturing out. I'll tell you something else that's very exciting as well, is that we're also going to be announcing this evening the winner of our photo competition. So this has been running for the last 3 weeks. Be warned, I'm going to sneeze very shortly. I can feel a tickle in my nose. No, it's gone. Oh my God, I hate that. Oh, it may resurface very soon. So it's all good. It's gone. Right. It's gone. It's gone. So yes, the winner of the photo competition. We shall be mentioning later. We've had loads of entries, so thank you very much for everybody who did enter.
Yes, while you mentioned about that as well, just a quick thing. We had a lovely follower on Instagram during the week who was very impressed with Matthew's Dutch word of the week. There's been a request to also help with the pronunciation of these wonderful Dutch words. So this week, of course, in honor of the Euro 2020 tournament, we'll say nothing more about the Dutch in the footy. But your choice of word, Matthew, was helaas pindakaas.
Yeah, inderdaad.
Very helpful. Yeah, inderdaad. Yes. So indeed, that's how you say it. Helaas pindakaas. Pindakaas meaning peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Yeah.
And helaas is like, what it translates as too bad peanut butter.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I was thinking about this because in English, it's not a very well used expression these days. But I seem to remember when we were younger, we used to say, "Oh, hard cheese." So
with hard cheese, yes, and hard lines is another one I've heard.
Yes.
Well, I've never heard that before.
But hard cheese, I thought of that because of the peanut butter, because it is like. Yeah. So, but yeah, anybody else out there from other countries who wants to say, oh, bad luck, or sorry to hear that, or something.
Send us your weird expression.
Yes, we'd like to hear it, especially if they're food related. That would be good. So anyway, Matt wasn't here last week, as you already know, but he did send a little video in of his review of the week that we watched, and this week he is actually here in the studio to give the review, thank goodness. Wow. And the review is of an album that I chose, which was from the 90s, and we talked briefly about this, the little rivalry that went on between Oasis and Blur in the mid 90s, and so I've picked a Blur album for Matthew to listen to. Obviously, you were in the kitchen again, Matt.
I was, yeah.
Yes, cooking in the kitchen. That's the standard place. He's got nowhere to paint at the moment. There's no decorating going on.
There was a leak this week, and they ripped our floor up, so there was some undecorating going on.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
but it didn't warrant listening to any music while it was going on.
No.
Okay, so kitchen it was. I gave you Blur, The Great Escape. So what did you think of that?
I had mixed feelings about this one because I am not a big fan of, like they pop. I don't know if it's his real accent, like the lead singer, whether that's his actual. I don't know who he is or how he speaks, because I'm me. But he's like really, I don't know, overly British, like his really like London. Like, really annoys me when it's just him singing. But when it's like gets into a bit and there's more background and more going on, then it's more fun. But I don't know, I just find his voice really annoying. I
Well,
don't know
There's
why.
one song,
Go on, Trace.
yeah, I was going to say the one song that Damon Albarn does, which is Park Life, where you really hear him. I get up and I go for a walk.
Yeah,
And
that's
Yes.
yes, but I don't know. I mean, is he from Cockney, London, or
Yes,
where?
yes, that's just it. He's a Londoner, and this was a lot to do also with the rivalry at the time, because of course Oasis comes from Manchester, and then Blur comes from London. And I wouldn't be surprised actually if they even emphasised this a little bit more because of this rivalry that was going on. But if you listen to interviews with Damon Albarn, the lead singer of Blur, yes, he is obviously a Southerner, and like some of us Southerners, we speak a little bit rough at times, you know, and sometimes we put it on a little bit.
I like it a lot. Yeah. I love London. I miss London. London and Brighton. I'm coming for you soon. Oh, so nice. Yeah.
Oh, the Brighton is locking his doors at the moment, going, oh Christ, Tracey's coming back.
Right, you see, she's going, oh bloody hell, I hope she doesn't arrive. We'll see. But anyway, but yes, so I guess then that is his accent, I suppose, but indeed
Yes.
probably with some artistic license and flair thrown in.
Yes, I think so. But no, I appreciate what you mean, because it is when it's full on, it is very, very distinctive, and if it's an accent that you just don't like,
It's
then
not that I don't like his accent. I just felt like it wasn't his genuine voice. I felt like it was like
okay.
put on, exaggerated.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, but as far as the songs and the music was concerned,
Yeah, I thought most of them were quite fun. I recognised a couple of them.
yeah,
The one about the country house.
yeah.
It's in a house, a very big house, country. Right.
And there was another one called like Universal or something.
Yeah, the Universal Sphere.
I think it's like some sports theme tune or something, or some, an advert.
Did you sign for an advert or something? But yes, it did get used for something. You're right. Yes, but I can't remember what it was.
That's what
for,
I recognised it from. And I was
right.
like,
Yeah.
is this an advert? I know this is the song.
Yeah. Okay.
Is
All
that
right, then,
for
so-
some songs?
Well, what did how many Matthews did you give it out of 10?
Well, I decided to give it an 8.
Oh, that's good.
Not bad at all.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
For an album you had mixed feelings about, I was expecting a lower score, so that's pretty decent.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh no, that's good. It's good. I mean, I think I've probably got most of their albums, and I do like them very much. But I do like Oasis as well. I think in the 90s I was probably I'm Blur because I'm a Southern girl and everything. But no, both bands have written some tremendous songs over the years. So.
Yeah.
And he's actually the lead singer. Damon has gone on to other bands as well that he's formed, and he's even written an opera. I mean, he's uber he's uber talented. He's a what is it when they play lots of instruments? Multifaceted. Well, he's multi-talented, multifaceted, but he plays a lot of
the opera. Does he do the opera in the same accent?
No, he didn't. No, he wrote it. He didn't sing it.
Okay.
That would be quite all. Nessun Dorma in a Cockney accent. That's going to be interesting.
No, that was definitely not the case. No, he just wrote it. So, but yeah, he's an uber talented person. Okay, so it's now Tracey's turn to pick an album for match review for next week. What have you got for us, Trace?
Indeed. Well, we're going to be chatting a lot this evening about the US of A and the 4th of July. But as Joe mentioned at the top of the show, it's also Canada Day today. So I thought we'll pick somebody from Canada for you. And Matthew, don't get excited. It's not Michael Bublé.
Boo.
I'm sorry, I know. But I have chosen another nice chappie for you. This is an album. It's, I think, let me have a quick look here to get my facts correct when it was released back in 1999. So it's not that old an album. It's actually called The Best of Me, and it's from a chap called Brian Adams.
Yay!
There he is. This is the album I've chosen for you. Let me get it in frame there. Exactly.
Half a head.
And hey, beg your pardon.
Half a head. You can
Half
only see.
Yeah, there is only half a head.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So it's got a few. I think a lot of these songs you'll probably recognize, Matthew, because some of them are pretty famous and got a lot of airtime back in their day. And oddly enough, this was the third sort of compilation album that he's actually released. So he's got quite a lot of songs to pick from. But indeed, Brian Adams, Canadian singer, and it's got actually some pretty decent ratings, so we'll see how you get on. And just to check for you, there are only 15 songs, so you should manage, I think, okay with that. So
of course, famously, one of his songs was number one in the UK and the US for I think about 5 years. It was a long time, maybe 3 months or something like that, but it was a long time.
That was the one from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves,
right.
I guess. Everything I do it for you. Yeah. And oh my God, at one point you were so sick of that song every night on Top of the Pops. There it was again.
Yeah, that's true.
That song is on the album, Matthew. Hooray!
Okay.
So you'll be able to have a listen to that. But also Run to You is on here, which is a really nice one. Of course, the classic Summer of '69. And When You're Gone, which is the duet he did with Melanie C of Spice Girls fame. So there's quite a few nice numbers on there. And he plays guitar, Matthew. So, bit of music going on. So my choice for you, Brian Adams, The Best of Me.
Okay.
Stuff. Okay, well, we'll find out what Matt has to say about that next week. I think it's probably time now that we all relax a little bit now. I think actually put our feet up. Do you think? Are you ready? Are you ready to get zen?
Yes, I've got my tea.
Oh, he's got his tea. Oh, what a very nice mug that is. Look at that mug.
Where did you get that mug from, Matthew?
It was a gift.
Oh, right. But normally, if you wanted to buy one, you could go to Redbubble and get one.
Oh, yes,
there.
of course.
Yes, there you go. Matt, sense the tone. So while you're enjoying your cup of tea in your Redbubble mug, it's time to relax, get into a nice comfy chair, put the kettle on, put your feet up, get all zen-like, come to a grinding halt, breathe deeply in, breathe deeply out, because it's time for This Day History. Oh, Tracey, that was a little bit more energetic than normal.
I had a flashback. We used to bang the table all the time, dude. So I thought, why not? I hurt my fingers, though. It's a good thing I don't have a piano lesson tomorrow.
Well, yes, probably just as well. We used to bang the table all the time. Well, there you go. Who knew? So yesterday, it is the 1st of July. We're already in July, for goodness sake. And actually, when I was doing some research on this, as some of you will know, I've got some websites that I have a look at all these different historical events that have happened on the 1st of July. Oh my goodness. The 1st of July seems to be the date to start something. I had so much to choose from. I had to whittle it down. There's been so much going on. Anything that's happened, people have gone, do you know what? Let's start that on the 1st of July, or I'll invent it on the 1st of July, or we'll finish it on the 1st of July. I mean, it's just the 1st of July. There's loads of stuff. But I have managed to narrow it down a little bit. So today, Thursday, the 1st of July, we're going to go back to 1200. That's a little while ago. But in China, apparently, the first sunglasses were invented.
Oh. Really?
They were cool then.
I do not have any pictures of what they look like, but yes, sunglasses have been around for quite some time, and the Chinese was the ones that invented. Yeah. We're going to jump a little way now, though. In 1863, on this very day, slavery was abolished in Suriname and the Dutch Antilles. And in 1874, the first US kidnapping for ransom was of a 4-year-old by the name of Charles Ross for $20,000 in 1874. That's a lot of money. I have not found out whether actually Charles Ross was found after the 20, or whether the 20,000 was actually, but they asked for that amount of money. So I think that was actually a lot of money in those days. The very same year, the first zoo opened up in the US, and that was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A few years later, in 1877, the first edition of the Amsterdammer was published in Amsterdam, of all places. And in 1899, the Gideon Society established to place Bibles in hotels. Now, I remember when I was younger, every hotel that I ever stayed in, not that I stayed in many when I was younger, but there was always a Bible in the drawer next to your bedside. I'm not so sure whether that still happens now.
Well, I haven't been in a hotel for quite some time, but I think it was November 2020 the last time there was no Bible.
No, I don't think it's not so. Well, it's a bit controversial now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So, there'll be certain hotels that still
because
have it,
really, then you should have like all the religious books. Then you'd need like a whole library in every hotel room.
In every hotel room, yeah.
Bit much.
Yeah, so you may as well just sleep in the library. That's basically yeah. In 1904, on the 1st of July, the third Summer Modern Olympic Games opened in St. Louis, the first held in the US. And in 1905, Albert Einstein introduces his theory of special relativity. A few years later, on this date, in 1908, SOS, the Morse code for the distress signal, becomes worldwide standard for help. Dot. So I've never used that myself. I have a very good pair of lungs on me. So if I'm in distress, I can usually get somebody's attention. In 1916, on the 1st of July, Coca-Cola brings the current Coke formula to the market. They did change it briefly. I think it was in the 80s actually, but that didn't go down very well, and they went back to normal. Now here's a question for you. Do you know what ZIP stands for when we talk about the zip code in the US? No. Well, I can tell you it was introduced on this day in 1963, and it stands for Zone Improvement Plan.
Gosh, I could have had a stab at zone, but improvement plan? Yeah.
Oh, I would never have guessed that. Never at all. A few years later, the first colour television was transmitting in Canada, and that was in Toronto. And the year later, after that, the first British colour TV was broadcast on BBC Two in the UK. That very same year, the Beatles album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band goes to number 1 in the US, stayed there for 15 weeks. And the year after that, 1968, Fortuna Sittard, the soccer team, formed in Sittard. 1970, 2 years later, another soccer team from the Netherlands, FC Utrecht, was established. 1972, the first Gay Pride March in England takes place. 1979, Sony introduces the Walkman. Oh, we'll explain that one to you later, Matthew. And in 1997, on this very day, the UK returns Hong Kong and the new territories back to the People's Republic of China. In 2002, on this day, the International Criminal Court is established to prosecute individuals for genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and the crime of aggression. And finally, on this day, in 2007, smoking is banned from English places, public places, and all of the UK after earlier bans in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Quick look at the birthdays. On this very day, 1903, Amy Johnson, the British pilot, the first female pilot to fly solo from Britain to Australia, was born. 1906, a young lady by the name of Estee Lauder. You may have heard of her, American entrepreneur. She was born. 1952, Dan Aykroyd, the Canadian-American comedian. 1967, Pamela Anderson, Canadian-American actress. And finally, in 1971, Missy Elliott, the American rapper, was born in Portsmouth, Virginia. And if you're celebrating the birthday today, I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you very much. My goodness. And that's narrowing it down. You wouldn't believe what's been going on this day.
Yeah, it's funny though. There's so many this day in histories now we've done together, and there's often like one day where it's like all patents, and one day where it's all this, and it's just indeed there's a theme. Someone should analyze the data.
Well, it's not going to be me.
No.
But I tell you what we could analyse. We could analyse what's going on in the world and in the Netherlands if we listen to Tracey, because I think it's time for the news.
Very smooth, dear. Very smooth. I'm ready to go. I'll make it quick because I need to get our guest on.
Oh, okay. Let's move through this swiftly. Tracey Taylor with the news.
Yes, thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's July 1st, and you're watching the Maastricht edition on Facebook Live. First, to look at your weekend weather, and temperatures will remain somewhat cooler in Limburg tonight, with more sun and showers due on Friday. Temperatures will reach highs of 22. Saturday and Sunday will be a bit sunnier, however. There is a risk of thunderstorms at times, highs of 23. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight. The EU digital COVID passport is fully operational in the Netherlands as of today. The document allows all EU residents who can provide a negative corona test result, proof of vaccination or proof of recovery to enter any European Union country restriction-free. Netherlands residents are able to generate their domestic certificate in the Corona Check app. Health Minister Hugo de Jonge has also asked all travellers to get tested for coronavirus when they return to the Netherlands. The RIVM has reported holidays as a key cause of the spread of COVID-19 and raised concerns about the potential spread of the more contagious Delta variant. The Dutch government wants to distribute self-tests to every household to ensure people are able to test themselves without hassle or cost. The Netherlands has officially introduced a deposit return scheme for small plastic soft drinks and water bottles. As of today, purchasers will be charged an additional 15 cents that can later be returned to all major supermarkets and highway gas stations. And it seems the Netherlands has by far the most charging points for electric cars in the European Union, and about 30% of all charging stations are located in the Netherlands. China was today certified as malaria-free by the World Health Organization, following a 70-year effort to eradicate the mosquito-borne disease. The country reported 30 million cases of malaria annually in the 1940s and has now gone 4 consecutive years without an indigenous case. China becomes the 40th territory certified malaria-free by the WHO. Moving to local news, and there was record rainfall in Maastricht on Tuesday with 87.2 millimeters of rain, of which 22 millimeters fell within 10 minutes. It seems this happens once only every 50 years or so. The last time this amount of rain fell in Maastricht was in 1966. And a local police TV series, Flick in Maastricht, will be shown on television for at least another 3 years. The recordings for the 16th season will start after the summer, and the next series is expected to be shown on NPO1 from the beginning of 2022. And finally tonight, a good news story about a Buddhist monk who, driven by his faith, has been rescuing stray dogs in Shanghai since 1994, bringing them to his monastery and shelter to live in peace and comfort. Zi Zhang also helps find his dogs new homes, and since 2019 has also been offering adoption to countries abroad. Zi Zhang has already rescued 88,000 pooches from the streets of the Chinese megacity and also cares for several hundred cats, assorted strays, and chickens and peacocks. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you're a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts, and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to the website of our partner, Maastricht.com, to check out their awesome calendar of events. And don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Redbubble, and on Instagram. For all the details, check out the maastrichtedition.nl.
Oh, nicely done, Tracey. 88,000 dogs rescued.
Sorry, no. 8,000.
Oh, even so, 8,000.
8,000. I was in
Just one man.
slip of the tongue there. Just one Buddhist monk who feels it's his calling, and there's lots of video clips online. You should really watch. It's very inspiring. And indeed, in China, sadly, there's a lot of strays, particularly dogs, on the streets. And of course, with the that they're not, done. So they're all making many babies. So then you've got lots of other doggies coming. So it's just sort of, become quite hard to manage. And apparently a lot of owners then just sort of abandon their dogs. And there's all these types of things going on. But he's sort of made it his cause to help rescue them. And he gets up, I believe, at 4 a.m. every day to tend to all the animals. And the whole shelter is all based on donations. So lots of good work.
My goodness, but that is a lot of animals, and peacocks, you said.
Yes, there's assorted strays, including chickens and peacocks. So that's quite cool. So Joe, you're quite familiar with the peacock.
I am very familiar with the peacock, of course. Our neighbours who have peacocks. I mean, they still try to escape quite regularly, actually. And there's one over there who kicks off that he can't get out. So I would not be surprised if they end up in my back garden once again. But I'll tell you who we should actually have loitering on the show at the moment is Foxy, our esteemed ex-colleague, Jason. He's in.
And he's got a
Jason.
I want to take exception to an earlier part of the show.
Oh no!
For just a moment, I want to start off on a very, very negative point here. One, happy sweaty Canada Day to everybody. That's not the negative point. The point that I'm taking exception to is that you picked Bryan Adams as the Canadian representative. Bryan Adams. And the Canadian government has apologized for Bryan Adams on numerous occasions.
Oh, no.
And there's so many other bands.
You are influencing Matt here, by the way.
Rush.
Yeah.
Pick Rush. Loverboy is another. Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Billy Talent.
Yeah.
Crash Test Dummies is another one.
Be grateful she didn't choose Justin Bieber.
Well.
If you had been resourceful, I'm gonna throw one back here. You could have picked Snow, if you remember Snow.
Yes. Is that the guy you said
Informer?
Yes, I remember.
The white Canadian rapper. Come on now.
Whatever it is. I remember that.
And ultimately, that's what I wanted. So
I really don't know.
You've fallen into my trap. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you, Tracey.
I remember that one. Next week, Matt, who knows? Maybe Snow would be recommendations.
I will not be recommending Snow. That I can categorically say that will not happen. But Jason, it's so lovely to have you on the show again. We missed you so much over here in the Netherlands. For those people out there who maybe have only recently joined the show since we've been online, Jason was with us for a couple of years here in the Netherlands when we were working in the studio. And he was responsible for actually getting us online at the beginning of COVID because we had to switch from working in a studio to working remotely. But sadly, he had to return back to the US, and that's why we've got him on the show with us now to talk about that. But before we get to that stage, how are you, Jason?
Is this going to be just a conversation of rubbing it in, really? Like, you had to move back. Yeah. It's so nice over here.
Interpol, okay? So...
to answer your question, Joe, everything's well. It's been interesting. I moved back. I guess it's been on 6 months now. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like far, far longer because I moved back over here to the States during lockdown. So that was like lockdown number 4 for my family and I, which was really interesting. And ultimately, the trying to adapt, re-adapt, because I've done the expat move twice now, has been a bit of an adventure in trying to navigate, okay, what's acceptable in this part of the world versus what I'm used to versus everything else. So it's just been weird.
Let's look at that because you have done this more than once. So I have a suspicion that they're actually it's not just about comparing culturally the difference between moving from the US to Europe, but if you have to do it twice, you've probably got expectations the second times, but maybe there is a difference again.
I hold no expectations. That's why I stay so happy. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. It's here come the flood of comments now. No, I don't know.
Let's skip that.
Because the first time I moved to Europe was back in 2003, and it was my first stint really anywhere outside of the U.S. And I moved to Italy, which was beautiful and infuriating. And I'm sorry to all the Italians who are watching here, because what makes your country so beautiful is what makes it so frustrating. Is that the homogeny, nothing has changed in 1,000 years, and it's beautiful, but nothing has changed in 1,000 years. So you're never going to get gas in August.
Yeah.
That's so. All interesting.
Yeah.
But of course, there are a lot of Italians actually that are in the US. So were you actually surrounded by that kind of culture before you moved there? Had you any idea what you were getting yourself in for?
Oh, Joe, guys, I grew up in the South in the U.S. and thankfully you can't hear that in my voice anymore. Although, Tracey, I pull it out for you if you like.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
I love it. You know it.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. No, so I had almost no expectation, which kind of goes into the whole expectation management of the folks, the expats like me, my family, in relocating it really is ultimately eliminating one's expectations and just kind of going with it. Because I think that a lot of folks that relocate in that way, if they have these expectations going in because of public education or now the news media cycle or wacky ideology. Again, everybody's free to think about how they want, but I mean that's sort of the barrier that's there, and I find that a lot of because of the expat community, Maastricht especially, it's basically nothing but expats, and so Maastricht is very special in that expectation because there really is no expectation. I think, at least in my opinion, is that it's a little more open and folks are willing to kind of bridge the gap a little bit more in their own minds. But I'd be interested in seeing what the viewers might think of that, or what you guys might think of that, because I may be way off on that.
Well, I think actually it might be quite nice to highlight maybe to our American viewers, maybe 2 or 3 points that really took you by surprise when you did move to this part of the world. I mean, you are so used to living in a particular way in the US that maybe when you get here, actually, that's not obvious. That's completely different. So were there actually any things that happen, any kind of behaviors or cultural kind of events or something that made you stand up and go, hold on?
Oh, I've made a list.
Okay.
Let's offend everybody.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
No, honestly, like one of the big things that I actually noticed, and again, I want you guys to disagree with me on this, because I mean, I think that's the I need that perspective, but most of the Europeans that I met, become friends with, and more the societal lifestyle, it tends to be more focused on leisure, Joe. That work to live versus the very American live to work aspect.
Yeah.
I'm seeing agreements here, so obviously I've hit something. I think that, in my opinion, that's changed quite a bit, maybe in the last 20 years, especially like gig economy and the interconnectivity of everyone's connected now, and so everyone's got a side hustle, I guess. So I'm seeing a lot less of that, but again, I'm just speaking in a very generalized sort of way.
In America, it's so different, isn't it? Because you only get maybe 5 holidays with your job or something like that.
Yeah.
5 whole holidays, you get that?
Exactly.
5 whole days.
Right, exactly.
So here it's so much different.
But and ultimately, I mean, I could, without, again, I'm speaking in a very generalized way because we don't want to turn this into a political discourse, Joe. But no, but that is actually, Matt, you've hit on it. That is actually one of the largest things that I've noticed in relocating multiple times there is that work culture. And it's also tied, like American work culture is tied to healthcare, whereas citizenship is, that's a big difference. And I think that also kind of feeds into.
Well, that is going to be something that probably Americans will really embrace. The work-life balance is going to make countries here very, very attractive very, very quickly, because it's like, oh, this is very civilized. Okay. For a prime example of that for me actually is Daddy Day that they have here. Now, not everybody embraces the Daddy Day, but it is encouraged for new fathers to have daddy days, where they take a day off work during the week to spend with their child or children, and for many countries that is a bizarre thing to do, but here it's sort of like, well, yes, of course, because you share raising the child together, and there should be bonding going on. It shouldn't be just left to the weekend.
No, you leave it to the daycare or to whatever nanny that you hire, that ultimately is responsible for the upbringing of your child, right? I mean, that's the way I'm doing it. I thought that everyone did it that way.
There you go.
Kidding. Who can afford that right now? Come on. No, but I mean, but honestly, you're absolutely right. The concept of paternal leave, even in the workplace, as a paid time off in America, that's sort of a new concept. It's the idea of even paid time off in America is sort of a weird thing. And again, this is not a political discourse, and I could go on for hours. And you've got another 15 minutes in the show here.
Yes.
Yeah. Indeed.
One of the larger, or two of the larger things, and then I'll kind of leave it at that. But there is in Europe, I think European citizens in general have more of an ecological awareness. A bit, recycling. What's the product of recycling? The actions that you take, the things that you do. Even to the aspect of I lived in Bavaria for quite a while. No disturbance Sundays. Everyone shuts down. No lawnmowers, no machines in the yard, no cars. It's everything. So noise pollution as an ecological aspect. One. No such luck.
No.
Sunday is when you get your hands dirty and you do your thing after church and you go and blah 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 blah. Anyway, never mind.
I wonder if that's an EU thing more than anything, because there is an awareness of regulations, or certainly proposals that are put through the EU, and everybody is aware of that. And I also wonder, actually, if there's maybe a little competition between certain countries as to who's going to be the first to as you say, have like a no work Sunday or a pollution free Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah, which is funny, because one of the points I made here, speaking of sort of the competition thing, it falls in line with, because I think stereotypically when folks talk American, you guys are talking about 4th of July and everything, that the big word is the P word, patriotism. Okay. I'm as patriotic as the next guy. But it's not a faith. It's not an ideology. Europeans generally, in my observation, tend to exude their patriotism through sport.
Sure.
Very
true.
Fair
we
enough.
have the Euros on at the moment.
We
do.
Footy tournament. It's footy fever, people. Footy fever.
And that's exactly it. Where one, soccer doesn't exist over here, so okay. But so that the pride in your country comes in interacting with other countries via sport, via healthy competition, rather than via patriotism in the U.S., which is focused on everything else. Although it's funny, because Americans will generally say their football teams are the world champions, but only compete within the U.S. That kind of thing.
The World Series.
The World Series, which is confined to basically North America, okay, because Canada is now included, so it's that sort of thing. But honestly, I mean, those are the biggest things. And really, I think that aside from the creature comforts and things that you can kind of look beyond, like you're driving on a specific side of the road and certain traffic laws, or a big one I learned is especially in the Netherlands, and maybe this is different in different places, when you go to somebody and say, well, hi, how are you? Why? Whereas that's sort of a natural thing, like maybe English speakers, say, hey, how are you? I'm fine, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. How are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been sick and my mother-in-law is this and that.
Oh, no.
No, that's not what I meant. So basic communication and everything, but a lot of it does boil down to really just lowering or eliminating whatever predetermined expectations you had about a specific country or place, and even your own, and just kind of letting go and just go with where you're at.
Sure. Yeah. So we're coming up to the 4th of July, as we mentioned. Would you have been celebrating the 4th of July while you were living in Europe? Was it something that would be sort of important to you? Okay, so
yeah, I'm a holiday guy. I mean, I understand the importance of it, and I think most Americans from an early age. I mean, it's the nation's independence, and it's an important day in history. It's also very important to examine how that came to be and the things from there. But again, political discourse, we're going to save that for another show. It's one of those things where, like, it's a nice time to take a little downtime, spend it with your family, the people around you, maybe have a bit of a barbecue, have a bit of a drink. Whether they explode some stuff in the sky, great. If not, then okay, that's fine too. But it's really, all holidays for me are more of a time to kind of get together and kind of take a little time, because you're not getting any other paid time off at work here.
There you go.
Yeah. And now that you're back in the US, and you reflect on your time here in Europe, how do you view it now? Is it a case of looking back and going, oh, I can't wait to get back to Europe, or that was a very pleasant episode in my life and I look forward to what comes next?
So like somebody goes to a bakery, and or better yet, like an ice cream parlor or some sort of like some sort of creamery location there, and you want to try a little bit of everything and figure out what's nice. Everywhere I've been, everywhere my family's been, and every little place I've had an experience, it's been nice. I prefer a little flavor of this to maybe this. But that's a very antiquated and clumsy way of saying I cannot wait to get back to Europe.
Fair enough.
Very clumsy. Every place has its flavor, and really, I mean,
of course. But is there one thing that you really realize that actually definitely bought this from the Netherlands or from Germany or from Belgium? The one particular thing, whether it's food or a behavior or a music or something. I mean, is there one thing in particular you say, oh yeah?
Nee, goed gedaan. It's so yeah, it's the language, because nobody here, again, generalizing. My son went to Dutch school and became very, very fluent, and immediately forgot everything as soon as we arrived. And so that was one of the things that, the expansion in languages and everything. So learning how to read in American English again, as weird as it sounds, is a bit wonky, I guess. And also the other thing too, that I mean, I don't think that this last experience in relocating is fair to overly generalize, because I mean COVID and lockdowns and everything, so everything was a bit different. I mean, ultimately, sort of the lifestyle that I've my family's brought back, sort of it's a bit slower than it is here in the States, and kind of getting ramped up to that American speed, I guess, has been very challenging.
Well, do you know what, Jason? Under normal circumstances, of course, we'd be chatting for another 2 hours. We can't. It's so lovely to see you. We do miss you terribly, and it's not just us guys at the Maastricht edition. You made many, many friends here in this part of the world, and we can't wait to have you, Jackie and Jameson, back here. So just get that sorted, okay? Get it
I'm working on it, all right?
Here, okay?
I had to move back to fix democracy in this country, and I think I've got that well worked out, so I can move on to other places now, all right?
Your work there is done.
Well, it's not quite done. I'm still getting there, but I mean, there are things but the biggest thing we need to fix right now, if I'm going to stand on my soapbox, is do not listen to Bryan Adams. Listen to Rush. And the album is Moving Pictures. You'll recognize. I'm just saying there.
Yeah. Okay. Noted. Totally noted. Jason, as always, lovely to see you. Give our best to Jackie and Jameson, and happy July 4th, however you choose to celebrate it. And we hope to catch up again with you soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll see you guys later. I'm glad everything's going well. Hi, Maastricht. I miss you guys.
Thanks ever so much, sweetheart. Take care.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, honey.
Oh. No. No. I see him. We miss him, don't we? Yeah.
We do.
Foxy. Oh. Okay.
Fabulous Foxy.
Fabulous Foxy, yes. So, okay, well, look, we're obviously going to run over time here because we ended up spending way too long speaking to Jason. We were being a bit self-indulgent there, if we're honest.
Sorry.
But, don't forget, we are still going to be announcing the winner of the photo competition.
Yeah.
That's coming up very, very shortly. But before we get to that, Matt's going Dutch on the 1st of July. What have you got for us?
I'm going to talk about the 4th of July. Well, no. The connections between the States and the Netherlands. I was like, maybe there's some connection between the two countries. That's quite interesting, and there is. So I looked back in time and brought some stuff together for you. So one of the main ones was that during the 16th and 17th century, there was a Dutch colony in America, so in North America, which was called New Nederland, and it was the area from Cape Cod, which is near Boston, down to the Delmarva Peninsula, which is Delaware. So it's the area that today is like New York, Connecticut, Delaware, that New England area. And the capital of New Nederland was New Amsterdam, which of course later became New York City, because in 1664 the British took over. New Nederland took over the whole area because there was a war, the Second Anglo-Dutch War, and during the Treaty of Breda, the Dutch gave the British their possessions in America, and it stayed British until 1776, of course, when the Americans finally won their independence and became an independent country. And the Dutch were actually the second country to recognize the United States as an independent democracy, as an independent country in 1782. And in that year, John Adams, who's the second president of the United States, traveled to The Hague, and he was received by the Dutch government, and he managed to convince them to recognize the United States as a real official country. And he also, while he was there, bought a house in The Hague, which then became the first American embassy in the world. I'm not sure if it's still there and if it's still the American embassy. If anyone knows, do let us know. And then, of course, during the Second World War, the Americans helped liberate the Netherlands, of course, through Operation Market Garden, which started actually up here near Eindhoven. And after the war, the US helped the Netherlands with the Marshall Plan. So the Marshall Plan was the American policy of giving European countries lots of money to recover after the war, and the Netherlands received a lot of money from the US and sort of developed the economy into this really technical economy, and lots of technical businesses were developed. But it also meant that the Dutch were pressured by the Americans to give up their colonies in Indonesia. So during the 60s, through American pressure, the Dutch gave up their colonies. But then today, the Netherlands is actually the third largest investor in the US, and the US is the largest investor in the Netherlands. So as of 2018, the US had invested $711 billion in the Dutch economy and created, I think it was something like 200,000 American jobs through that. So they're significant parts, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. They're big numbers.
They are big numbers.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
There you go.
But where I am, which of course is north of Maastricht, we have some military bases here, and they've been there for quite some time. So we've often got Americans in the area. But I had no idea about those kind of figures. That's quite astonishing.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Oh, well, that's very interesting. As always, Matt, very, very interesting. Always. We are coming up towards the end of the show. First of all, though, let's, I think it's time for our big announcement before Tracey does titular victualers. We have our photo competition, of course, that's been running for the last few weeks, which was to find us a picture of Maastricht in all its glory in the kind of summertime that we that we have at the moment.
Alleged summertime.
Alleged summertime, and we wanted this photo in a landscape, not portrait. I have to say, this is the first competition that we've run where everybody who has sent their pictures in actually did it in landscape. We didn't get any portraits at all. So the message is getting through. Fantastic. We were inundated with pictures, absolutely beautiful, beautiful pictures. But we have decided the winner is of the Summer 2021 Maastricht Edition photo competition, Kyle Montez Valdivia. Congratulations. Carl actually sent in a couple of photos for us, but we've got one in particular, which is this beautiful summer landscape of Maastricht. Looks absolutely fantastic. So that is going to be our winning photo, which is going to go up on our Facebook page and onto our website. Kyle will also be getting a goodie bag. Contact with Carl about you receiving the goodie bag, which will have lots of goodies, hence the name, from our partners that work with us here at the Maastricht Edition, including the mug that Matt is modelling for us right now. Oh my goodness, you should do that for a living, Matt.
It's like watching telly shopping or something. My goodness,
oh my goodness, I'm going to go and buy a mug right now. Honestly,
I know. I'm calling up. I'm thinking, do you still have those mugs?
Oh, yeah, it's so convincing. It really is. And also, we'll be inviting Carl to come on the show if Carl wants to.
If he's brave enough.
It's not compulsory, but yes. So congratulations to Carl. We'll be in touch very soon. Excellent. Well done. Lovely. Right. Before we disappear, Tracey, what titty bitties have you got for us this week?
Yes, I have one good titty bitty for you in honor of the 4th of July, which is coming up on Sunday. If you guys want to buy some goodies from the US of A, then why not check out former guest Kelly's Expat Shopping, who has lots of items that you can get, not just for 4th of July, but indeed just American goodies, but there's also stuff from the UK, from Ireland. So, we're getting into the summertime now, so maybe you're looking for some little extra treats from home if you're not able to travel just yet. And this is a really great spot. They have a very nice selection. There's lots of goodies there. Everything comes packaged very beautifully, and delivery costs so on. And very quickly, I'm just going to say, very fast and beautifully packaged, well protected. So definitely give it a try. But certainly in terms of the 4th of July, if you order tonight, you might get the box by Saturday. So you're just in time. So Kelly's Expat Shopping, they're based up north in Amsterdam. Very lovely lady. And that would be my tip of the week for everybody.
Excellent, fantastic stuff. Well, it's been a wonderful show once again. Thank you everybody for joining us this evening. It was lovely to see Foxy Jason back in the house with us, having a chat about the cultural differences between moving from the US to Europe and back again. And he's done it a couple of times. So one of these days he's going to meet himself on the way back from whichever way he is.
Or just write a book about it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason,
We shall be back again next week. Take care out there. As we were talking about, you know, we don't have to be wearing masks anymore in shops, but you know what? You've still got to be on your guard out there. So let's not rush into this too quickly. Let's be sensible. Let's keep our distances, and hopefully the weather will improve and we can start enjoying summer properly. We'll see you next lovely weekend. Again, happy Canada Day to all our Canadian listeners. Happy 4th of July to all our American listeners. And whoever you are, we shall see you next week. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.